What's happening, family? It's Cass Sports again, back for another afternoon with my people. Now, as usual, before I get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. You don't have to have a podcast. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. That's all. Salute to Miss Cass, #JBT. Welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Box Historian. This is the Wednesday afternoon edition, the Hump Day edition. Back for some more afternoon boxing talk. Because you know, if it's Monday through Friday at 2 o'clock, it's the Box Story. That's me. You know, your friendly neighborhood box story. We're going to talk about boxing in New York today. We're going to do a little history of boxing in New York. We're going to talk about some of the big fights they had over the years in New York. And some of these great venues up there, like the Garden, the Meccas in New York. And then we're going to talk about some fighters that were born in New York. Okay? Sugar Ray Robinson is not on there. They have him down there as being from New York, but he was born in Alley, Georgia. Raised in New York, so these are all former fighters. Have to be born in New York to make the list. Hope everybody's doing okay today. Hump Day. This is a big Cinco de Mayo coming up this weekend. Canelo Alvarez versus Jaime Munguia. Hardcore boxing news. #JBT in the building. What's up, Jay Hardcore? Welcome to another episode of Cass Sports. It's 2 o'clock, so it's time for 2 o'clock Shorty, aka the Box Story, aka Cass Sports. A salute to Jay Hardcore, #JBT. And I'm going to wait until 2:30 as usual, get some more of my people time to get in here. Tomorrow, of course, is going to be, we're going to do a show on the old gym. And also talk about the legendary trainer who founded the Kronk Gym, Emmanuel Stewart. And his daughter runs the Kronk Gym now. I think her name is Sylvia Stewart. And then we're going to tomorrow talk about some of those legendary boxers that came out of there. Like, of course, when you think Kronk Gym, Of course, you think Emmanuel Stewart, but you also think the hitman, Thomas Hearns. And then Friday is the final Four Kings profile, Sugar Ray Leonard. This has been Four Kings month. We covered all four of them. The Hitman, The Hands of Stone, Marvelous One, and this week is the Sugar Man to close it off. Last but not least, he was in the most Four Kings fight. There were 9 total. Sugar Ray was in 6 of them. He, I believe he won 4. He won 4, lost 1, and had a draw. Yeah, he beat Hearns once, Duran twice, Hagler once. He was in 6 of them, 4, 1, and 1. And we're gonna get into him Friday. We got another big show planned for you today. This was a Remo idea. He'll be along. Like I was just talking about, this is the big Cinco de Mayo fight this weekend. Canelo and Jaime Munguia. I'm sticking with Canelo. But a lot of people are giving Jaime a chance. I hear people saying he might be able to outpoint Canelo. Canelo's got a lot of mileage on him. The man has almost 77 fights. Turned pro when he was 15. So he's not, I think he's in his middle 30s, but he has all those fights. But I think he's going to get Jaime out of there. Because Jaime likes to mix it up. High punch volume. But Jaime's got, this is his biggest fight because he's been in that Golden Boy protection plan all these years. 40-something and old. But who is he for? I think this is like Jaime's second fight at 168, as a matter of fact. He was at 160 for the longest time. But people say he's Canelo's mandatory. Yeah, he picks the one that just had one fight. What about Benavidez? Been his mandatory for some years. Benavidez gave up. He went on to 175. I don't blame him. Morello's fighting at 175 too, his next fight. I don't know if he's coming back down. Benavidez seems like he's going to stay up there. He wants the winner of Bivol and Benavidez. Either one would be a good matchup for Benavidez. Plus, he's getting a tune-up fight at 175. That's good. I hope he gets the winner. He's an interesting matchup with either of those guys. And I don't hear too many people talking about the Bam Rodriguez and Juan Francisco Estrada's got a fight coming up. I think it's June 29th or May 29th. I'm not sure. I know it's the 29th. I think it might be June. And we got Xander Zayas fighting Patrick Teixeira. I remember we were asking, could 24 top 23? I think the answer is yes. It's already topped it. And we just got the schedule like through August. What's coming up the last quarter of the year. That August 3rd card might just top it by itself. Bud Crawford, Madrimov. But better be careful. I think Madrimov was one of those Eastern European guys, I believe. Very skillful. He only had like 10 fights though, so. Bud's experience and all of the skills he has. It'll be a good fight, but so Bud is at 54 now. At 47, remember, he stopped everybody. even Earl Spence. Isn't that something? Nobody went the distance with him at 47. Nobody. I think it was like 11 straight knockouts. Is he going to start a new streak at 54? We will see. Glad to see Boots getting back in the ring. I think it's the 28th of June. I'm not sure. But he's at least scheduled to fight. That's good. Because he's been on the shelf for a while. But this is the box story. I'm going to wait like 5 or 10 more minutes and get started on this boxing in New York. I forgot the name of the show for a minute there. Lonnie Lee will be along. He gets off at 2:30. Mike Basic, Mike Grimm. Been kind of slow this week. We'll have to pick back up. And that entire card is good. I guess they got a card from they always got a card from the UK every weekend. And don't forget, Monster is next Tuesday. Naoya Inoue from Tokyo. Yeah, and Jay was telling me that I did not know this, that the venue he's fighting at over there in Tokyo next week is the venue Mike Tyson fought Buster Douglas at. And this is the first fight in all those years at that venue. That's amazing. Wow. I just took it for granted that Monster had fought there long ago, but nope. First fight there since Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas, over 30 years. I don't think Louis Neary will be able to deal with Monster. I think Neary is undefeated. But that O is going next Tuesday. One of them's O got to go, and I think I know which one it is. It's going to be Louis Neary. I don't really see too much of a challenge for Monster at 126, to tell you the truth. I really don't. Maybe Bruce Carrington gets some more fights under his belt. I heard Kubo was waiting for a date and a venue. Be good to see him get back in there. Bounce back from that bad loss he took. He was a monster. Went over there to Japan and got wiped out. But it happens. It was the same week that Bud wiped Earl out, remember? Let's talk fashion in the building. Remo. Hashtag JBT. Another Friday went out there. I was so busy working this morning, I haven't even seen it yet. But I'm going to correct that before today's over. I already knew it was fire. And I told Remo yesterday I'm going to be doing one of his ideas every Wednesday. Because I got to follow that fire. Let's talk fashion every Wednesday. I just do a show with one of Remo's ideas behind it. Just boxing talk. That's all it is. It's a fire group of people that love to talk boxing. We're going to start talking about this boxing in New York in about 5 minutes. Now, Remo, I only did, the boxers from New York is all retired guys. I didn't do any active fighters. I never do. Cat Sports is still on here 20 years from now, then I'll be talking about Tank and Canelo and Bud and all those guys, because they'll be the retired fighters then. I'm your friendly neighborhood box historian, so talk about the people that's been in our sport and retired, and we look back at what they accomplished. There was some good fighters come out of New York. Some of those old. Benny Leonard was from New York. Benny Leonard. Let's see. Whole group of them. Riddick Bowe. Now, Zab Judah, Joe Smith Jr., Gene Tunney, of course, Mike Tyson. Now, Jamel Herring, is he retired? I included him in here because I wasn't sure whether he was retired or not, so I included him. He might as well be retired. When is the last time he fought? Yeah, Zab made it. Oh, Zab finally got nominated? Okay. Is this his first time on the ballot? It might be. Because I think Zab retired about, 2019, something like that? Yeah. So, yeah, this is his first time on the ballot. Yeah, he made it. You know, Riddick Bowe was the first person to hold all 4 of the belts of the major sanctioning bodies, but he didn't have them all at one time. He wasn't the 4-belt undisputed, but he was the first one to win all 4 of them. Okay, but he didn't have all 4 of them at one time. But he won all 4 of them at some point, and he was the first one to do that. Riddick Bowe. I did not know that. Yeah, I'm learning too. Yeah, we're going to get into it in about 5 minutes. A little history of boxing in New York. Talk about some of the fights that happened at those historic venues up there, and some of the fighters. Carmen Basilio, Chris Algieri, Michael Moore. Even got a woman on here, Jackie Tonawanda. And the great Gene Tunney. Oh yeah, Mike Rim in the building. Told you my people coming. Why wait till 2:30? Salute Mike Rim. It's boxing in New York today. In a couple minutes, we're gonna get into it. Oh yeah, great, legendary. Now Sugar Ray Robinson, they had him down as being from New York, but he's from Georgia. But I think he grew up in New York, so he didn't make it. Yeah, Amanda. Amanda didn't make it. She should have. But who knows? It ain't over yet. She might make it. Jack Sharkey. Whole bunch of them. Yes, Daniel Jacobs. Remember him? Mark Breland. Jerry Cooney. I did not know Howard Davis Jr. had passed away until this morning. I did not know that. Wow. Passed away in his 50s, a few years back in the teens. Yeah, Howard Davis, that 76 Olympic team with Sugar Ray and the Spinks brothers and them. Howard Davis was on that team, and he won Outstanding Boxer for the entire Olympics that year over all those guys. That was quite an achievement there. That team was fire. All those teams, 76, 80, and 84. But of course, 80 didn't go because of politics. Remember, the Russians had invaded Afghanistan, and then the United States didn't go to Moscow, so the next Olympics was in LA, so of course, the Russians didn't come here. And then guess what? The United States boycotted because Russia invaded Afghanistan, and 20 years later, the United States invaded Afghanistan. That's why politics shouldn't get mixed up in sports. Sports is a way that we get away from politics and that kind of stuff. And politics should not rear its ugly head in the sports. Look at all those young kids that trained their whole life to go to the Olympics, made the team, only to have a politician tell them they can't go. And the same thing for the young Russian kids. Same thing happened to them in 84. They had a politician over there tell them they couldn't come here to the Olympics. That is crazy. And then, some of those youngsters that all mapped out, they're going to go to the Olympics and turn pro. They're not willing to wait another 4 years, so they just missed out because of politics. Very unfair situation. I think Jimmy Carter was president then. If I was on the team, I would have been mad at him. Could have found some other kind of way to punish him. Then they turn around and do the same thing 20 years later. That's crazy. But we're going to get ready to get into it in one moment. I'm going to drop this down a little bit. Where's everybody today? It's been slow this week. It's all good. I can hear myself, so. There's always one person in here. That's me. Right? That's about good right there. Got a fire slideshow today. The Hardcore gave me an idea about some videos earlier. I'll be working on another fire show in this. I'm always working on something. Trying to get the music right. Curtis Stevens from Brownsville. Triple G messed him up badly. Yeah, Curtis didn't make it. But you'll see. A lot of good ones did make it, though. You know me, I like that era back there, 20s, 30s. I'm kind of biased toward that era. Yeah. That's when everybody fought everybody and fought 7, 8, 9 times a year. Remember, Henry Armstrong fought 20 times one year. And then he fought 11 the next year. He fought 31 times in 2 years. And won all of them. So I like that era. Nobody ducked nobody. You fighting 30 times in a year. Yeah, you ain't got time to duck anybody. You know. But let's get ready to do it. We're going to do a little history on it first. Waiting for my spam call to come any moment. They always call between 2 and 2:30. They got their list and they got call Cast Sports between 2 and 2:30 every day. So go ahead and call me and get it out the way. They know I'm on to them now, though. Yeah. Where's page 1 of my notes at? I got a new notebook. Okay. Wet my whistle. But salute to everybody that's in the building. Been a slow this week. It'll speed up. Lonnie Lee will be here in a few minutes. Al Booger, just do. Okay. This is called Boxing in New York. Now, the New York State Athletic Commission, or the NYSAC, also known as the New York Athletic Commission, what that is, it's the division of the New York State Department of State, which regulates all contests and exhibitions of unarmed combat within the state of New York, including licensure and supervision of promoters, boxers, professional wrestlers too, seconds, ring officials, managers, and matchmakers. And the commission, of course, is based in New York City. Now, the New York State Athletic Commission was founded in 1911 when the Frawley Law legalized prize fighting in New York State. But then the Frawley Law was repealed in 1917 and the State Athletic Commission was disbanded. And with it went legalized boxing. Okay? But it didn't stay going long because in 1920, the Walker Law came around and that reestablished legal boxing in the state. Okay? And you know, the Walker Law did away with, the Walker Law limited it to 15 rounds. It used to be a 30 count. They brought that down to the 10 count. They just did a lot of things that helped the safety of the boxer, because they could do wrestling moves, gouge each other in the eye, all kinds of stuff. And a fight didn't end until one person couldn't continue. No such thing as a decision back then. But the Walker Law came along in 1920 and ended all of that. Ended the no decision era. And they reestablished boxing in New York once again. So it didn't stay going long. Okay. Now, the National Boxing Association, or the NBA, was established in 1921 by some other U.S. states to counter the influence of the New York State Athletic Commission. And sometimes, just like nowadays, the New York State Athletic Commission and the National Boxing Association recognize different boxers as champions. That sounds very familiar, don't it? Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more in the building. Salute, Bruce Gas. We're talking about a little history of boxing in New York today. Okay. And we're going to look at some historic fights, some of the good big fights they had up there. And we're going to look at some fighters that were born in New York. I'll use all former guys. I did use Jamel Herring. He's from New York, but I don't know if he's retired or not. He may as well be as often. He doesn't fight that often. But salute to Bruce Gas. Now, the New York State Athletic Commission and the National Boxing Association recognize different boxers as champions sometimes, especially between 1927 and 1940. Now, in 1962, the New York State Athletic Commission supported the National Boxing Association becoming the World Boxing Association. And in 1963, the New York State Athletic Commission supported the formation of the World Boxing Council, or the WBC. Okay. Now, in 1927, when the first Golden Gloves tournament was held, New York was a boxing town. Okay. Now, while baseball kept fans occupied in the summers, at that time, the NFL was only 6 years old. And the NHL had only had an American team for about 3 years. So horse racing and boxing were kings in New York around that time in the 20s. Now, if you were a boxing fan, you didn't have to go far to find a crowd clamoring for a fight in New York. Venues in all 5 boroughs would pack thousands of fans in for nightly fights across the city. Okay. Brooklyn had regular fights at the Broadway Arena, in Bushwick and Coney Island Stadium. Queens had fights on Saturdays at Ridgewood Grove Arena, Queensboro Arena in Long Island City, or the Sunnyside Gardens. Staten Island had Thompson Stadium. The Bronx had the Bronx Coliseum, the Bronx Velodrome, and the Fairmont Athletic Club. And in Manhattan, there was the Pioneer Sporting Club, the Rough and Tumble Star Casino, the Rockland Palace, the Commonwealth Sporting Club, St. Nick's Arena, and Stillman's Gym. And you could go to Stillman's Gym and pay a quarter and watch the best boxers work out. Yeah, for 25 cents. You can go in there and watch them work out. Lonnie Lee in the building. Salute Lonnie Lee. Talking about boxing in New York, little history right now. This is the Hump Day edition of Cash Sports, the Box Story. Appreciate everybody that's rocking with me. Okay. Yeah, you could go to Stillman and pay 25 cents and watch some very good boxers train in there. Mm-hmm. Oh. How do I keep losing my place? Now, each of these places could pack in between 2,000 and 5,000 a night. The Polo Grounds, where the Giants played baseball, drew 40,000 fans for a Mickey Walker fight. And a few years before that, across the river, a stadium was built in Jersey City for the 90,000 people that turned out to see Jack Dempsey fight George Carpenter at Boyle's 30 acres. And that was the first million fight promoted by Tex Rickard, the big time promoter of the era. Tex Rickard, yeah. Now, the first Golden Gloves was held in Madison Square Garden. That was the third location. You know, the current one is the fourth one. That opened in 1968. Now, the third one was on 8th between 49th and 50th. And 1,200 amateur boxers applied to compete in that first Golden Gloves tournament, 1,200 of them. Now, since those first fights in 1927, the Golden Gloves has been running continuously, producing more pro fighters, fighting champions than the Olympics. For example, those Golden Gloves have produced Sugar Ray Robinson, Floyd Patterson, Emma Griffith, Jose Tapales, and Riddick Bowe. Now, even with the weight of all this history, the years were not all that kind to boxing. Because from a high of about 120 boxing clubs in New York, by the time it got up into the late teens, 17, 18, there were only 70 remaining from all those clubs they used to have. Now, the rise of television throughout the 30s and 40s drew many of the fans away from boxing. And a number of the clubs and arenas I was just talking about, those venues, a number of them closed down, right? And in their place was the fights on television. For example, like the Gillette Friday night fights on CBS. You know, that drew a lot of fans that were going to the venues. They started staying home watching it on TV. And boxing began to see criticism for its brutality. In 1960, the NCAA dropped. They stopped sanctioning boxing after the death of a fighter at a tournament. And then in the 80s, after the death of professional boxer Korean Duk-Koo Kim, that happened live on television. Public opinion on the sport began to shift. And physicians around the country called for the sport to be banned, right? Called for the banning of our sport. Now, in addition, regulations grew tighter. You know, like they have physicians had to be in attendance at every fight. And other additional officials were required at every fight also. And then it started to become too expensive for many of the remaining clubs around the city to afford to host fights. You know, because all these people had to be paid, these physicians and all these other officials that became mandatory to be at fights. So a lot of the clubs, it became too expensive for them to host fights anymore. BN Boxing News in the building. Salute BN Boxing News. We're talking about boxing in New York today. We're just doing a little brief history on it, you know, that's all. Talked about some of the venues and clubs that were spread out around the city. But yeah, when boxing, public opinion started to shift because people started talking about the brutality. It had a couple of ring deaths and everything. And plus, you know, being on television started drawing the people away from the arena. They could just stay home and watch it, you know, save gas and everything. Now, in addition to changes in boxing, New York, the city was also changing, okay? Now, New York was once an industrial powerhouse. It lost many of its manufacturing jobs and transitioned to a post-industrial economy with heavy emphasis on the service industry and financial industries. And due to these changes, two New Yorks emerged. And within them, two types of boxing also emerged. Local gyms now offered boxing fitness classes, and there became a growth of boutique boxing gyms. But there were still people who looked at boxing as an avenue out of the neighborhood, right? And to leave behind the conditions that didn't improve in the post-industrial boom, okay? So nearly 100 years after the first Golden Gloves, does boxing still have the same popularity in New York City? And more importantly, how will the current crop of kids and young adults take to the sport? Okay. And then something significant happened in 1977 also in New York. Kathy Davis sued the New York State Athletic Commission in 1977 because she was denied a boxing license because she was a woman. And the case was decided in her favor later that same year. And following that decision, a judge invalidated the law that stated no woman may be licensed as a boxer or second. Now, the law stated a little bit more than that, but that was the reason where she sued him. But that law was struck down. And she was the first woman, Kathy Davis, was the first woman to receive a boxing license in New York City. Mike Macy. What's up, Mike Macy? In the building. How are you today? Boxing in New York. Hope everybody enjoy it. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be talking about the old Kronk Gym and legendary trainer Emanuel Stewart. Now, the Kronk Gym is still open. His daughter runs it now. And they have another Kronk Gym in Phoenix, Arizona also. You know, and we're going to talk about some of the legendary boxers that came out of there. Now, let's talk about some of the fights that happened in New York City for a little while. Okay? How about that? Of course, the first one is going to be the fight of the century. Muhammad Ali versus Smoking Joe Frazier. Okay. Now, this was in 1971. Of course, it was at Madison Square Garden. Now, this was the first Ali Frazier fight. Okay. And it was famous for not only being one of the greatest fights in boxing history, but for Ali being dropped in the last round and Joe Frazier winning on the cards. Okay. That was part of the biggest of all three of those fights. The first fight, the fight of the century. Of course, the first fight of the century was it Jim Jeffries and Jack Johnson? Yeah. Okay. Now, the next one, just very briefly, touch on these fights. Okay, the next one is undercard to World War II, 1938. In 1936, heavyweight contender Joe Louis lost in the 12th round against Germany's Max Schmeling. Now, 2 years later, they returned to Yankee Stadium, and Louis, by now champion, got his revenge in a first-round knockout in an iconic fight. And I talked about that a little yesterday, how much pressure he had on him. The backdrop of that fight was World War II, was kicking up, and Hitler was, and the Nazis was acting up over there in Germany, and President Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president. He called Joe Louis to the White House and told him, you know, the entire free world was depending on him to win that fight. So he had immense pressure. He didn't play with his food neither. Got Max Schmeling out of there in the first round. Okay. Now check this one out. This man went to sleep. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. He's asleep. See him? See him laying there? Yeah. I got the title in the way a little, but you can see him. Yeah, that's Ingemar Johansson. Now, he won the first fight with Patterson. Now, this one was in 1959. This was the rematch. And it's obvious who won it. Okay. Johansson beats Patterson. Patterson beats Johansson. This was 1959. Ingemar Johansson wasn't supposed to beat Floyd Patterson in the first place when they met in 1959 at Yankee Stadium, much less knock him down 7 times. He knocked Floyd down 7 times in the first fight and stopped him in 3 rounds. Now, the second fight, was in 1960, and it was at the Polo Ground. First one was at Yankee Stadium. The second one was at New York's Polo Ground. Then a year later at the Polo Grounds, Patterson got his revenge, stopping Johansson in the 5th round. And that's got to be the 5th round right there because he didn't get up. Remember I told you that Walker Law changed the 30 count to the 10 count? They could have still had the 30 count still in effect for that fight, and I don't even think he would have beat that. That man is sleeping. That's not definitely not a TKO. Okay. Now the next fight. Hopkins School, Trinidad. This was also at the Garden. Okay, remember that one? B-Hop. School, Trinidad. This was the first major sporting event to take place in New York following the tragic events of September 11th. This was the first major sporting event after 9/11, okay? There was no baseball, football, anything going on. This fight was the first major sporting event after that. Bernard Hopkins versus Felix Trinidad. And when it finally happened, Bernard Hopkins caused the upset when he ended the fight in the 12th round. Okay? Got Felix in the 12th. B-Hop. The oldest man to ever win a championship in boxing. Remember? Okay. Next one. That's Susie Q. That right hand? That was what Rocky knew it's a bad man when he named his right hand. You see Joe Louis meeting Susie Q. Rocky puts Louis through the ropes. 1951, Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden was the location in which Rocky Marciano knocked out the great Joe Louis, his childhood idol. 1951. Yeah, Joe Louis couldn't handle Susie Q. Nobody could handle Susie Q. 49-0. Okay, Rocky Marciano, The Rock. One of my favorite fights of all time. Next, Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta, 1942. This was the first fight of that 6-fight rivalry they had. And it was at the Garden, of course. The first encounter between Jake LaMotta and Sugar Ray Robinson delighted the Madison Square Garden crowd in 1942. Robinson won the fight by unanimous decision. And he would go on to win 5 of their 6 fights. But that's very misleading. You know, somebody might say, well, Sugar Ray won 5 out of 6. He dominated LaMotta. But no, all of those fights were great fights. And it could have very easily been 3-3. Because one of those fights, LaMotta definitely won. It might have been 4. And 2 was questionable too. Now, you know, they fought their second fight on, I think it was February 5th, 1943. Guess when the third fight was? 3 weeks later, February 24th, 1943. They fought each other twice in 3 weeks. Ain't that crazy? You got people now going 3 years before fighting. Those 2 guys right there on the screen fought each other twice in 3 weeks. Okay. But this was the first one, and it was at the Garden, the Mecca of sports. Okay, that's what they call it. The Garden. Okay. The next fight is I believe it's Sugar Ray again. Yeah, this is the fight where Sugar Ray can't stand the heat. This was the only time Sugar Ray Robinson ever got stopped. It was 104 degrees in the ring. And guess what? Before Sugar Ray had the in the 13th round, he couldn't continue. That was Joey Maxson he was fighting. And before Sugar Ray couldn't continue, it was so hot, they had to change referees. I think around the 10th, 11th round, they had to substitute for the referee because he couldn't handle the heat. Yep, 104 degrees in the ring, 1952. Joey Maxson was the world light heavyweight champion, and he retained it. And this fight was at Yankee Stadium. Okay, Yankee Stadium. Okay. Where you at, cursor? Okay, there's the cursor. Next up is Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield. This was in 1999, and this fight was at the Garden. Okay. Lewis and Holyfield can't be split. 1999. In 1999, WBC champion Lennox Lewis is denied victory against WBA and IBF champion Evander Holyfield at the Garden via very controversial draw. I thought Lennox won it, but this fight was undisputed. See, that's what they thought of the WBO at that time. The WBO had been around for about 10 years, but the other three wasn't even recognizing it yet. Because when the IBF came in, they started recognizing all the WBC and WBA champions in their rankings, but the WBO didn't. They had a lot of lower level fighters fighting for their titles, and it took them a long time to get recognized. But finally, when the WBC recognized them, they all fell in line. But in 1999, it was still 3-belt undisputed, and the WBO was around. They just weren't recognized. And somebody else getting ready to meet Suzy Q. Let me see. I see Rocky Marciano's name. Yeah, Archie Moore meets Suzy Q. Okay, there it is. See? Suzy Q. Marciano goes out undefeated. This was his last fight, 1955. Now, he didn't officially retire until 1956, but he fought his last fight in 1955. Okay, this was at Yankee Stadium. In the second round of his last fight at Yankee Stadium, the great Rocky Marciano was knocked down by the mongoose Archie Moore. But Rocky got up to retain his title in the 9th round and retired from the sport with a rare, undefeated record, 49-0. The only heavyweight champion to ever retire undefeated. Now, I got a guy on my list. He's from New York, too, Gene Tunney. Never lost a heavyweight fight. But guess what? Gene Tunney lost one fight at light heavyweight. So he couldn't, he wasn't up there with Rocky. He never lost at heavyweight, but he lost one fight at light heavyweight. So he had that one blemish on his record. So we're going to talk about Gene Tunney a little later, shortly. I cannot believe it's almost 3 o'clock, and I started at 2. I've been on here about 15 minutes. I thought it was like 2:15. But the thing says 5 minutes to 3, so wow, that was a fast hour. That's crazy. Told y'all, the space shuttle that went up there and speeded the Earth up. Okay. Everybody think I'm crazy. My wife think I'm crazy, just like y'all do, but I'll stand by that. That's what happened. It's not normal the way this time is going by. And they say when you get older, time starts going faster. But I hear young people talk about how fast time is going, so I'm right. We'll find out one day. Y'all gonna say, Cat Sports was right. And I get the apology from everybody for laughing at it. Okay, now the next fight. Ali, this was Ali's first fight. I mean, this first time he went down. Okay, 1962. And this fight was at, where was this fight at? The Garden? Yeah, the Garden. This fight was at the Garden. The Rise podcast in the building. The Mighty Rise Podcast is in the building. Salute to the Mighty Rise Podcast. The closer. Just a down for the JBT. 9 p.m. weeknights, 12 p.m. on Sunday. Followed right behind the hangout. And see, it's still early in the JBT day. I'm just the second act. Okay? We had the hangout at 8, then I'm at 2. But we got Just Do Boxing at 4. Jay Hardcore will be back in the hangout at 8. And the Mighty Rise Podcast comes on at 9. So it's still early. A lot of boxing talk coming up. So just sit back and chill. And listen to this JBT organization, light these YouTube streets up. Okay? Too early. But yeah, this was Ali's first time he ever got knocked down. This is in 1962 at the Garden. Okay? This is called Ali is Floored for the First Time. 1962. This was before he became Muhammad Ali. And long before he became the greatest. Cassius Clay had to pull himself off the canvas in the first round of this 1962 fight against Sonny Banks. Took place at Madison Square Garden. And this was also Ali's first fight in New York. Yeah. Come up there to put on a show at the Garden and got knocked down. Cassius Clay at the time. Yep. See, that's him. On his way to the mat. And Sonny Banks like, I got you. Sonny got confident, but Ali came back and I believe he stopped him. Didn't he, Bruce Gas? I think Ali came back and stopped him. I don't have the round. Okay, a couple more fights to go, then we're going to talk about some of these guys that was born in New York. You can't talk about New York boxing without talking about Mike Tyson. It's Mike Tyson and Mitch Green. This was Mike Tyson's first Madison Square Garden fight, 1986. Customato had passed away about a year ago then. I don't think Mike was champion yet, though. I think he became champion in 86, but when he fought Mitch Green, I don't think he was champion yet. So he beat Mitch Green up out in the street and in the ring. Now, Mike Tyson was a force of nature in the 1980s. The youngest heavyweight champion in history that still stands to this day. Mike Tyson only fought twice in Madison Square Garden in his life. Wow. This was his first time here. I did not know that against Mitch Green. Only 2 times? Wow. Now, Tyson won by a wide, unanimous decision. And he went on to have a career filled with victories and controversy. That's the understatement there, victories and controversy. But not if Customato had lived. That controversy wouldn't have been in there. How Jay Hardcore said, at all. Wouldn't have been no controversy if Cuss would have been around. You know how he went to jail for rape when the woman go to his room 2 o'clock in the morning? If Cuss was alive, he wouldn't even been at that beauty pageant. But you know, a woman meet a man for the first time and gonna go to his hotel room 2 o'clock in the morning. What she think Mike was taking her up just for? For a cup of coffee or something? Come on, man. Mike was going to get the goodies. He was going to get some money. Okay. Next up is Super Fight 2. This is the second Ali Frazier fight. Also, the first 2 was at the Garden. Of course, the Thriller in Manila was in Manila, Philippines. But this was the second one at the Garden. 1974. Muhammad Ali smoking Joe Frazier. Now, Ali had to wait 3 years for his rematch with Joe Frazier. Okay. Both no longer undefeated, and neither man had a championship belt at the time. Well, Ali had the NABF, North American Boxing Federation belt, but neither one had the WBA and WBC were the only 2 major ones around. And neither had, I think George Foreman had them. Because after Frazier beat Ali, Foreman took it from Frazier. Then remember, Ali went back and took it from Foreman. Now, Ali won this fight by decision and even up the series at 1 apiece. 1 win apiece. Okay, now. The fight got the current face of boxing. The current face of boxing. Davis lands perfect punch, 2022. Now, for nearly all of the first 6 rounds of this fight, with Gervonta Tank Davis Rolly Romero fought a disciplined fight, but suddenly it ended with a thud. Now, it only takes one punch from Tank to change a fight, and that one punch happened. In the 6th round, Rolly pursued Tank to the ropes, and Rolly unloaded 2 looping right hands to the body. Tank calmly let loose with a counter left hand that caught Rolly clean and sent him face first into the ropes and down to the canvas to end the night. And this fight was at the Barclays Center. This is at the Barclays, okay? At the Barclays. Then we have, this is also at the Barclays. Former sparring partner put to sleep in 1. This was in 2022. At the Barclays Center, Deontay Wilder knocked out his former sparring partner, Robert Helenius, with a short right hand with just 3 seconds left in the 1st round. Yep. See? He's on the way down there. Okay. Next. Somebody's old had to go. This was 2017. Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. In a very close battle between 2 undefeated fighters, Keith Thurman controlled the early rounds, and Keith had the momentum entering the middle rounds. But Danny Garcia's poise and technique allowed him to work his way back into the fight. But Keith edged out a razor-thin split decision. Keith Thurman. And finally, on the fights, before we start talking about some of these guys born in New York, Garcia dominates Haney. Okay? Remember that one? 2024. A couple weeks ago now. Ryan Garcia knocked Devin Haney down 3 times using his fast hands and left hook to outclass Haney and earn the biggest win of his career. And this fight was at the Barclays Center. Flying Ryan took the dream away. Okay, now let's look at some of these fighters. These are some guys that were born in New York City. Okay, some of them legendary, some of them not so legendary, but all born in New York City. Now, Sugar Ray Robinson, I believe he grew up in New York City, but he was born in Alley, Georgia, so he didn't make the list. Okay. Gotta come down some. Okay. Wait a minute, I'm gonna drop this down a notch, another notch, if that's okay with y'all. That's why I tell you, I always say I miss Bill Knuckle because he would tell me to turn it down. You know? That's good. Okay, we're going to talk about some boxers born in New York. Hope I got my slide presentation in order. And first, I can't find the cursor, man. Let me stop before I mess something up. Okay, there's it. There it is. First of the New Yorkers boxers is Chris Algieri. It's Chris Algieri, okay? He's first. Now, Chris Algieri was born in Huntington, New York, okay? He held the WBO junior welterweight title in 2014, and he challenged for the WBO welterweight title later that same year. Now, Algieri had a career record of 25 wins, 4 losses. Now, he's also a former kickboxer and also was a world welterweight champion in kickboxing. He retired from kickboxing to try a new challenge as a professional boxer. And after retiring from boxing, Algieri has a very successful career as a commentator on boxing. Yep. Very good commentator. He's on Pro Box. Calls it straight. This Algieri does. Next, Lou Ambers. All guys that were born in New York. Here's Lou Ambers. Now, Lou Ambers was born as Luigi Giuseppe de Ambrosio. So you can see why he changed his name to Lou Ambers. Born on November 8th, 1913. Okay? And he boxed professionally from 1932 to 1941. And he fought many other boxing greats, including the great Henry Armstrong and Tony Canzonieri. And Ambers compiled a career record of 89 wins, 8 losses, and 7 draws. Bear with me for a minute. I didn't list where Ambers was from, but I know he's from New York. I'm gonna find out. Got to be right. My equipment, I bear with me for one moment, please. We got to know where Lou Ambers is from, what part of New York. Okay? These are all New Yorkers. I want nobody that's not from New York. Lou Ambers is from, oh, there, it was right there in my face. He was born in Herkimer, New York. Okay, Lou Ambers. Okay, career record of 80. He had that's a lot of draws. That's 97 and 7. He had 103 fights, 89 wins, 8 losses, 7 draws. No, 104 fights. Excuse me. Yeah, 104 fights. Okay. Next is the great. Great Carmen Basilio. There's Carmen. Now, Carmen was born in Canastota, New York in 1927. He won world championships in both the welterweight and middleweight divisions. It's great middleweight. Fought Sugar Ray a couple times, I believe. I believe he beat Sugar Ray one time too. His career spanned 13 years, from 1948 to 1961. Compiled a record of 56 wins, 16 losses, and 7 draws. Everybody had a lot of draws around it. I don't understand it. Now, Basilio was known for his aggressive style and toughness in the ring. He had one of them granite chins, man, one of them Canelo chins. He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in the inaugural year, 1990. You know, a whole bunch of those, they call it the old timers category because they just started it in 90. I used to wonder why all these old guys like Joe Louis and Sugar Ray Robinson was just getting in the Hall of Fame in 1990. I used to be upset. So they should have been in there, but they just started the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1990. Now they have a World Boxing Hall of Fame, but the International is the more prestigious one. So that's why they didn't get in there until 90. They just started it, and a whole bunch of them went in. They call it the old timers category. Yeah. And like Let's Talk Fashion said, Zab Judah is on the ballot this year. I think he's first ballot too, because I think Zab retired about 18, 19. So I think it takes 5 years to get on the ballot, right? So yeah, he's the first ballot. Y'all think Zab is the first ballot Hall of Famer though? Will he make it? Will he make it? I don't know. He was undisputed. 3-belt undisputed. So yeah, I guess he'll make it. If I had to vote, I would vote for him. Yeah, I would vote for Zab. Yeah. But Carmen Basilio went in. He's in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And after Carmen Basilio retired from boxing, he worked as a bartender, and he opened a bowling alley. Owned a bowling alley. Carmen Basilio, the great Carmen Basilio, a great middleweight. He beat Sugar. I think he had a 1-1 split with Sugar Ray Robinson. But he fought Sugar Ray, not the Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray was a little older than, like late 50s. around in there sometime. Yeah, but Sugar Ray was still bad. Yeah. Sugar Ray had 2 Hall of Fame careers. He could have retired after the 40s and been in, or he could have skipped the 40s and just fought the 50s and went in from what he did in that decade. Yeah. So the old Sugar Ray is still better than a lot of the guys of their period. Next is Riddick Bowe. That's the boaster on the right, Riddick Bowe. Now, Riddick Bowe was born on August 10th, 1967 in New York City, New York. He competed as a professional boxer from 1989 to 2008, 19-year career. Now, Riddick held the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship in 1992, 3-belt. And he won the Super Heavyweight silver medal at the 1988 Summer Olympics. Lost to Lennox Lewis in the gold medal fight. Came in second. Now, Riddick had a total of 45 fights in his professional career. He won 43, only lost 1 fight. He had 1 draw. And the only fight he lost was their Fan Man fight with Holyfield, which I felt he was winning until Fan Man showed up. And that affected Bowe more because Bowe's wife fainted in the audience and everything. And what Fan Man was, some guy decided to parachute into the ring on some kind of contraption. Remember I showed it to you a few weeks ago? Yeah. And I don't know how he did it, but he landed right in the ring. And he got the worst beating of all. But that was Riddick Bowe's only loss. So other than that, he would have been undefeated. And I think at the time Fan Man showed up, Riddick was winning. But like I said, his wife fainted and everything. And after Fan Man, Riddick just wasn't into it. But guess what? He had a trilogy with Holyfield. He won the first fight, lost the second one, Fan Man fight. He came back and knocked Holyfield out in the third fight. Yeah. And Riddick was voted Fighter of the Year by Ring Magazine and the Boxing Writers Association of America in 1992. I believe that was the first fight with Holyfield, yeah. Now, this is what I was telling you earlier. Riddick Bowe was the first boxer in history to win the titles of all 4 major sanctioning bodies, WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO. So he was not undisputed, okay, because he did not hold all 4 belts at the same time. But he was the first man to win all 4 at some point in his career, yeah. But he didn't have them all at the same time, but he did win all 4 of them. He was the first man to do that. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015. He was the first ballot. Because he retired, like 09, something like that. But see, 1 year you get voted on, then you actually get inducted the next year. So it's really a 6-year process, you know. But he won it in 2015, Riddick Bowe. Yeah. Very deserving of that honor. Riddick Bowe. See that? 2 minutes went by, but really 3:15. And since I said it was 5 minutes to 3, only like a couple minutes went past. It haven't been no 20. The next is James J. Braddock, born in New York City, June 7th, 1905. He fought in my era, 20s, 30s. And James J. Braddock was a world heavyweight champion from 1935 to 1937. Now he was known for his counterpunching, great counterpunching, powerful right hand, and that iron chin. Yes, James J. Braddock. And one of them Canelo type chins. Well, he's older. Canelo had one of them Braddock type chins, right? Because Braddock was around way before Canelo. But that's what it was known for. Great counterpuncher, had a powerful right hand, and that iron chin. And good gas tank. You got gas tank and chin, that's going to keep you in any fight. Now, due to chronic hand injuries, he was forced to retire and work on the docks and collect social assistance to feed his family during the Great Depression, fought in that era. But in 1935, he made a comeback and beat Max Baer for the World Heavyweight Championship. You know who Max Baer was. You remember Jethro and the Beverly Hillbillies? That was Jeff Rowe's father, Max Baer. And Max Baer had a brother, Jeff Rowe's uncle, that boxed too. Yeah. Jeff Rowe's father and uncle boxed. You know, Jeff Rowe was Max Baer Jr. Yeah, Max Baer was his father. Great boxer. I forgot his brother's name. Yeah, but he had a brother that was a big-time boxer too. I've talked about him before. Yeah. Old Jeff Rowe. I'm from a boxing background. Next up on our list of New York boxers is Mark Breland. Yep, he's a New Yorker. Mark Breland. That's him facing us. I believe that's Marlon Starling he's fighting. That look like Marlon. Yeah, that is Marlon Starling, but that's Mark Breland facing us. Okay. Fighting Marlon Starling. I didn't even realize that when I made that picture. But that is Marlon Starling. Remember he had that little jump step when he was always fighting, like a horse would step like a style. You had that little jump step when he was coming forward. Marlon Starling did, yeah. The Mark Breland, okay. Right now he's a boxing trainer. Well, he used to train Wilder. I don't know who he's training now. And former professional boxer. He had a 13-year career from 1984 to 1997. Olympic gold medalist. He was part of that great 1984 team. Yeah. And he won his medal in the 1984 Summer Olympics in LA. And he was part of that night of gold at the Garden in 1984. They had it was like 4 to 6 of them won gold medals. And they all made their debut on that same card in the Garden later in 84 after the Olympics. I think Zab Judah was there. Holyfield was on the card, but he got cheated in the Olympics. Yeah. Holyfield fought a guy that, yeah, that's him. Wilder's coach, Mark Breland. Yeah, Remo, that's him. Facing us. Yep. Now, Holyfield was fighting a guy in the Olympics. That was the referee and the guy Holyfield was fighting was from the same country. That should never happen in the Olympics. There's enough amateur referees to prevent that from happening. And sure enough, the referee let Holyfield start his punch. Then he hollered, "Stop." And Holyfield followed through and hit the guy. And the referee disqualified him. And Holyfield was way ahead in the fight. So that was the gold medal match. And the man disqualified Holyfield. And then come find out, he's from the same country as the guy Holyfield was fighting. That should never happen, never. Because the guy obviously cheated. But Breland Remo, that's the one that used to train Wilder, yeah. Breland had a total of 38 fights during his career. He won 35 and lost 3. Now, he held the WBA welterweight title twice between 1987 and 1990. Okay. Now, Breland later became an actor, and he had a wide range of movies and television work. I've never seen him on anything. And Breland was born in Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn. Mark Breland. Yeah. Ain't that where you from, Remo? Brooklyn? Yeah, Let's Talk Fashion is from Brooklyn, I believe. Okay. Next is Jerry Cooney. I didn't change it. There's Jerry. Yeah, it is Big Jerry. He was 6'7". Now, Jerry Cooney is from Manhattan. Okay? Manhattan. He had a 13-year career from 1977 to 1990. Now, he challenged twice unsuccessfully for the heavyweight title. He was really in that racially charged fight against Holmes, led by Don King, put all the nonsense into it. Yeah. And Cooney is widely regarded as one of the hardest punchers in heavyweight history. Yeah, he could pop. Holmes, no, because he kept hitting Holmes low with that right hand in that fight, yeah. And he has a knockout rate of 85.7 for his career. Very impressive, 85.7. Look at anything over 80 is very good. Okay. And he has wins over some of the top heavyweights from the division's golden era, such as Ken Norton, Ron Lyle, and Jimmy Young. Okay. 3 great heavyweights that fought in the golden era. Yep. Cooney got wins over all 3 of them. Never won a title, though. He was just in the wrong era. Nowadays, he probably would be undisputed. You know, he would sleep Tyson Fury. Probably would beat Wilder too. Hate to say it, but yeah. Tyson Fury, Wilder. Usyk definitely couldn't. Usyk would have been too small for them guys. Usyk would have got dogged in that era. I just, even at 100. This is one of the weakest era of heavyweights ever, right now. Guys like Cooney, the guy that punched real hard. Oh man, they didn't even win titles back then. Any other era, they would have been champions. They just fought in the 70s. Ali, Frazier, Foreman, all those guys. Holmes, Norton, yeah. Any other era, they would have been champions. Yes, they would have. But next is Howard Davis Jr. I was talking about him earlier. That great 1976 Olympic team with Sugar Ray Leonard, the Spinks brothers, Leo Randolph. That man right there, one outstanding fighter for the entire Olympics, Howard Davis. I didn't know he had passed away, though. He passed away in his 50s, like about 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Yeah. Howard Davis. He grew up in Long Island, New York, as the oldest of 10 children. Now, he first learned how to box after being inspired by a movie about Muhammad Ali, trained by his father. And he took him all the way to the 1976 Olympics, where he won a gold medal, an outstanding boxer of the tournament. Now, he had a total of 43 professional fights, compiling a record of 36 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw. Was a slightly disappointment in the pros. After his Olympic performance and amateur performance, everybody was expecting a lot out of Howard, but he really didn't pan out to what everyone thought he would be. We thought he was going to be like similar career like a Sugar Ray, one of them type of fighters. But no, didn't work out for Howard. But he had, he had 40-something fights, 43 fights, 36, 6-1. So, yeah. Howard Davis Jr. But he was just a great amateur boxer. That's how it is sometimes, Doesn't carry over to the professional rank. And sometimes a guy isn't all that good in the amateurs and turning and is a great professional, So it's just one of those things, Yeah. Next is Rocky Graziano. He was suspected to be mafia connected. Rocky was, yeah. Accused of being in numerous fixed fights. Never proven, but just alleged. Custer Amato was the one that founded him, but then some of the mafia connected trainers and managers stole him away from Cuss. But Cuss founded him. Yeah. Rocky. He had him for a little while, but Rocky went for the money and the fixed fights and stuff. But like I said, it was never proven. But yeah, alleged. Yeah. Yes, sir, Jay. They really fought back in them days. Nowadays, Howard Davis Jr. probably would be an undefeated world champion. It's just the era, like I was talking about the heavyweights. Cooney. I don't think Jimmy Young was. Jimmy Young had a title. I don't think Ron Lyle did. Ernie Shavers didn't win a championship. In this era, all 3 of them guys would be champions. But they was just in that golden era of heavyweights. Like I said, Ali, Frazier, Foreman, Norton. This was some bad boys back then, man. Now, Rocky Graziano was born as Thomas Rocco Barbella from New York City in 1919. Okay. He competed in the middleweight division for his entire career. He had a career record of 67 wins, 10 losses, and 6 draws. Everybody had 5, 6, 7 draws back around this time. He won the middleweight championship in 1947. Now, Rocky Graziano was known for his powerful punching, okay, and brawling style in the ring. After retiring from boxing, he worked as an actor also and appeared in several films and TV shows. And he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1991. Rocky Graziano. Now, this next guy, I don't know if he's retired or not. Jamel Harry. He might as well be because he doesn't fight that often. What has he fought like one time since he fought Shakur? What was that, like 2022, 2021? So I put him on here. Okay. He's from Rockville Center, New York. He was born October 30th, 1985. Okay. Jamel. He had the WBO junior lightweight title from 2019 to 2021. Until he ran into Slick Shakur Stevens. Okay. Shakur don't have no nickname, so I gave him one. Slick Shakur Stevens. And Jamel had a total of 29 fights so far. And he's 24 wins, 5 losses. Jamel Harry. Okay. Next man up is Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs is from Brooklyn. Born February 3rd, 1987. Now, Daniel is a 2-time middleweight world champion, holding the belts for 5 years, from 2014 to 2019. Called himself the Miracle Man. Now, his career was almost cut short in 2011 because he had a rare form of bone cancer. But he made a full recovery from it, okay? After 19 months away from boxing. Daniel Jacobs, yeah. 2011, yeah, he was real sick, but he made it back. And became a champion. All right, here you go, Remo. Next is Zabdiel Judah. I never knew what his full name was. Zabdiel Judah. Okay. That's what they had. Zabdiel. I just thought it was Zab. Yeah. There it is. Zabdiel Judah. And that's Zabdiel on the screen. I would call myself Zab too if my name was Zabdiel. Wow. No wonder he could fight so good. He probably had to fight every day in school. But Zab was born on October 27th, 1977 in Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York. He had a 23-year career from 1996 to 2019, longevity. And Zab had multiple championships in 2 weight classes, including the undisputed welterweight title in 2005. He was 3-belt. That was right on the edge when they first was ready to recognize the WBO. But Zab was 3-belt, yeah. B-Hop was the first 4-belt not too long. I think it was in 2005 when B-Hop became first 4-belt. Melanin Queen 20, Melanin Queen 27 in the building. Oh, your birthday is what did I say? October 27th, Queen? Oh, you got the same birthday as Zab Judah? Okay. That's all right. But salute to Melanin Queen 27, one of the queens of the JBT. Along with Miss Joette, Miss Cass, Mrs. Just Do, Heather E. Yep. And Melanin Queen 27 is in the building. Salute. Everybody salute to Melanin Queen 27. Big time supporter. Big time JBT member. And Cass Sports supporters. All things JBT. But that's your birthday too? Okay. Yeah, Zab did drop Floyd J, but he didn't get credit for it. He was second, right? Yeah, he sure did. I remember that. Yep, just like remember they got Bartholomew dropped Ramirez Saturday and didn't get credit. I don't know how the referee missed that. I'm watching TV and so he used his right hand to catch himself when he was going down. So that's a drop. And Jack Reese was standing right there and blew it. I used to like Jack Reese. I put Thomas Taylor over him now as the best referee in boxing. Okay. Now Zab, Melanie Queen 27th birthday is September. What's Zab's birthday? October 27th, 1977. Okay. Yeah, and Zab held. He was undisputed, 3-belt undisputed in the welterweight division in 2005. And Zab's career ended in 2019 when he was hospitalized after suffering a brain bleed in a stoppage loss to Cletus Selden. Y'all remember that? Yeah, that was 2019. I thought that was before that. That was 2019. It seemed like that happened before that. Oh, I'm gonna have to check that date. I guess it was though. Yeah, Zab had a 23-year career. I just thought that injury, that fight was before 2019, but I guess it was 2019. That's what they say. But Zab Judah. Oh, Zab DL Judah, excuse me. I never knew his name before yesterday. I wouldn't call him that, not to his face. Okay, next up is Jake LaMotta, the Raging Bull. Had those 6 fights with Sugar Ray. And like I was saying earlier, a lot of people look at it and say, well, Sugar Ray Robinson won 5 out of 6 and he dominated Jake, but it wasn't that way. That 5 out of 6 wins for Sugar Ray is very misleading because they were all competitive fights. And Jake arguably won 3 of them. Okay, I know he won 2. I think it was 4. So I know he won 2 of those fights, but they didn't give him but 1. And like I told you, their second fight was February the 5th, 1943. And their third fight was 3 weeks later, February 24th, 1943. I cannot get over that. Both in Detroit. Of course, they were in the same place because neither one of them never left. Yeah. But 3 weeks apart, isn't that something? Yeah. Oh, and admitted that Jay, okay. Yeah. Now, Jake LaMotta, a.k.a. the Raging Bull, he was born in the Bronx, okay, in 1922. Now, he had a long and storied career in the ring. Jake had 106 fights altogether. 106 fights. He won 83, lost 19, and had 4 draws. Now, he won the middleweight championship in 1949. And he went in the Hall of Fame with that inaugural class of the Old Timers crew in 1990. And his life story, the film The Raging Bull starring Robert De Niro, was based on Jake's life and directed by world-renowned director Martin Scorsese. Yeah, Raging Bull. I guess every boxing fan needs to see that, I guess. Guess what? I haven't seen it. Yeah, The Raging Bull. Most popularly known for his 6 fights with Sugar Ray Robinson, though. And like I say, the Sugar Ray won 5 out of 6, but that's very misleading. Those fights was way more competitive than that. Arguably 3-3. Now, next is the great Benny Leonard. I mean, the great Benny Leonard. That's why I like this era for guys like him. Back around that time frame where he fought, 1920s, 30s, yeah. But, oh, that ain't Benny Leonard. What in the world is that? I don't know what happened. Oh, there's Benny Leonard right here. I have no idea who that is. There's the great Benny Leonard right there. Who was that? See, Benny Leonard. Oh, that was Michael Moore. It's out of place. Okay. But Benny Leonard is next. There he is. Benny Leonard. He was born in New York City in 1896. Okay. Now, he was a lightweight champion in the 1920s. and he had 100 and wait a minute. He had 213 fights. Yes, I said that right. 213 fights. He had 183 wins, 24 losses, and 6 draws. Okay, because they were fighting 8, 9, 10 times a year back then. Remember, I told you yesterday, Harry Armstrong fought 20 times in 1938. And guess what? Fought 11 times in 1939. 31 fights in 2 years. That's an entire career nowadays, right? That's an entire career. But this guy had 213 fights, won 183, lost 24, 6 draws. Now, the great Benny Leonard, he was known for his speed and ring intelligence. He was often, guess who he was compared to? The legendary Sugar Ray Robinson. I told you, the great Benny Leonard. Look at some film of him. If there is, yes, there's some out there. I've seen a few of his fights. Now, he retired from boxing in 1932. And later became a referee and a boxing analyst. And of course, he went in with the old timers in the inaugural year 1990. Yeah. Benny Leonard wasn't in there, shouldn't even be no Hall of Fame. Yeah, bad man right there. Get a chance, Google him. Yeah, Benny Leonard. 213 total fights. Now, we go to Michael Moore. He was out of order. How you get out of order, Michael? I shouldn't even show you. But there he is, Michael Moore. Yeah, I think. Yeah, ain't that Michael Moore? Yeah. Now, anyway, Michael was born on November 12th, 1967, from Brooklyn. Okay, home of Let's Talk Fashion, I think. Now, Michael had a 20-year career from 1988 to 2008. Okay. He won a world championship on 4 different occasions in 2 weight classes, light heavyweight and heavyweight. He compiled a record. He had one point in his career, he had 22 knockouts and 22 fights in one stretch, right? And he was also a 3-time heavyweight champion. Also won the championship at light heavyweight, okay? And his career record, he had 57 fights. He won 52, he lost 4, he had 1 draw, 40 knockouts. Michael Moore. I don't have too many more to go. Of course, the voice come up at 4. And remember, it's still early in the JBT day. Okay, we still got 3 more great shows to go. Okay, Just Do Boxing at 4. J Hardcore will be back in the hangout at 8. And right after J Hardcore, the Rise Podcast is going to close it down for the night. Okay, they're going to turn out the lights and close the door on the JBT day. Start all over again tomorrow morning with the hangout. Okay, I'll be back at 2. Just the cycle continues, but still early. A lot more JBT to come today. Okay. And yeah, anybody care to contribute to the cause of the JBT? Here's our Cash App in the chat. You know, we would appreciate it. All donations go to toward this great organization getting greater. Okay, it is right there, all caps. Any donation will go to the JBT becoming a better organization. Okay, and we are moving. We ain't playing. Okay. Now next up is Jack Sharkey. Right. He was gone. There's Jack Sharkey right there. That's Jack facing us. Okay. Now Jack Sharkey, he was born Joseph Paul Dukowska, October 26, 1942. He was born a day before you, Queen. Okay. A day before you and Zab Judah. He was born on October 26th. Okay. From Binghamton, New York. He was a Lithuanian American. He held the New York State Athletic Commission Championship, the National Boxing Association Championship, and the ring heavyweight titles from 1932 to 1933. The New York State Athletic Commission and NBA were the big titles of the day back in them days. Yeah. And also the ring. Now, Sharkey had a total of 55 fights with 38 wins, 14 losses, and 3 draws. Okay. Winding down. Joe Smith Jr. is from New York. Yeah. That's the one that put B-Hop through the ropes. Wasn't it Joe Smith Jr.? I think. Yeah. Now, Joe was born on September 20th, 1989 on Long Island. Okay. He held the WBO heavyweight title from 2021 to 2022. Now, in 2000, yeah, it was him to put B-Hop through the ropes, because check this out. In 2016, Smith became the first boxer to ever score a stoppage victory over former undisputed middleweight world champion Bernard Hopkins. Put him through the ropes. And guess what? B-Hop retired after that fight. Yeah. And Joe Smith was 28-5, 22 knockouts. That's a decent knockout rate. 22 out of 28. Yeah, it's not too bad. And here's this lady. Listen to this. Jackie Tonawanda. I had to put this in there because this is kind of crazy. Where are you, Jackie? There she is. Jackie Tonawanda. Okay. Jackie Tonawanda was born in Suffolk County, New York on September 4th, 1933. Now, she named herself the female Ali. And she was, her born name was Jean Jameson. Okay, she was a heavyweight boxer in the 1970s and 1980s. Now, she was a well-known figure in the sport and was featured in many newspaper articles and magazines. Now, while she called herself the female Muhammad Ali, several sources claim that her story was largely made up and she only had one professional fight. And she lost that one. And looked at BoxRec, that's all they got her, 0-1. So yeah, that's why I put Jackie on there, yeah. BoxRec had her 0-1. The female Ali is 0-1. Wow. Okay. I don't know how that happened. Hope this thing ain't get ready to go out on me. Okay. Next is the great Gene Tunney. And remember now, Rocky Marciano is the only heavyweight to retire undefeated heavyweight champion. But Gene Tunney never lost at heavyweight either. But he lost one fight in his career. It was at light heavyweight. So he had that blemish, right? Yep. Yeah, he said that, Jay. And he got knocked through the ropes. Yeah. Appreciate you, Melanie Queen 27. Appreciate you. I'm glad. I'm learning too, Queen. I didn't know Zab Judah's name was Zabdiel. Yeah. Now Gene Tunney, yeah, he never got beat at heavyweight, but he lost one fight at light heavyweight, so he had that blemish. But Gene Tunney's from New York City. He was born in 1897. Okay. He competed in the light heavyweight and heavyweight division. I think he might have lost to Jack Sharkey, as a matter of fact, who I talked about earlier. He was also from New York. And he had a record of 65 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. 64-0 at heavyweight. Well, I don't know how much it was at heavyweight, but the loss came at light heavyweight. Okay. Now, he's best known for his 2 fights against Jack Dempsey, where he won the heavyweight championship in 1926 and successfully defended it in a rematch the following year. That was the long count fight where Jack Dempsey knocked Tunney down, but Jack Dempsey wouldn't go to the neutral corner, so the referee didn't start counting. But the timekeeper should have been counting. But it's no telling. But if he hadn't started counting, Tunney probably would have got up. But as long as the referee not counting, stay down there and get as much time to recuperate as you can, right? But yeah, they called that the long count fight. That was the second one. Tunney won it. He came back and stopped Dempsey. Now, Tunney retired from boxing in 1928 and later worked as a businessman and philanthropist. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame, International Boxing Hall of Fame, in 1990. Okay, and last, but certainly not least, we're talking about New York boxing, right? Y'all know who it is, right? Come on. There you go. Iron Mike Tyson. Iron Mike Tyson. I appreciate everybody for rocking with me today. Yeah, I remember when he said that, though, Jay. Devin said the same thing, remember? Devin said the same thing. Now, when you think of New York fighters, likely the first who comes to mind is Iron Mike Tyson. Mike is from Brooklyn. He became the youngest heavyweight champion in history at the age of 20, and that still stands to this day. Now, Wilfred Benitez is the youngest champion throughout boxing because he won the welterweight title at 17, but Mike has it for heavyweight. Okay, and Mike had a career record of 50 wins, 6 losses, and 2 no contests. And if Cus D'Amato had lived, nobody would beat Mike Tyson. Nobody. I really believe that. Buster Douglas definitely wouldn't. That would have been one of those quick 30-second knockouts if Cus would have been around. And he wouldn't have been at that beauty pageant neither. Woman gonna just meet a man and go to his room 2 o'clock in the morning. What you think they were doing? Going to have tea or something? Come on, man. Yeah, Mike wouldn't even been there. But I appreciate everybody rocking with me. The Voice is next in about 10 minutes. Never seen The Voice today. Yeah, but tomorrow, don't miss tomorrow. Tomorrow is the legendary Kronk Gym show. And we're going to also talk about the legendary trainer who founded the Kronk Gym, Emmanuel Lewis. And the Kronk Gym is still open. It's run by Emmanuel Lewis's daughter now. I think her name is Sylvia. And they also have a Kronk Gym in Phoenix, Arizona, too. We're going to talk about both of them. And we're going to talk about some of the legendary fighters that came through Kronk, like the Hitman, Milt McCrory. I believe Meldrick Taylor was out of there. Tyson Fury trained there, too. When he was with Emmanuel's nephew, what was his name? Sugar Ray? No, Sugar Hill. Excuse me, Sugar Hill. Sugar Hill Stewart. Where is he now? I mean, I only seen him train with one person. That was Tyson Fury. Yeah, where is Sugar Hill now? But yeah, tomorrow's the legendary Kronk Gym. And Friday is Sugar Ray Leonard profile. Don't miss that one. Appreciate you, Jay Hardcore. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the support. Jay Hardcore and everybody, really. And remember, like I said, it's early in the JBT day. We still got 3 fire acts coming up, man. Just do boxing at 4. Jay Hardcore back in the hangout at 8. And the Mighty Rise podcast, the closer at 9. So get your popcorn and your drinks and stuff and sit back, man. Because we lighten these airwaves up all day, every day. Well, Monday through Friday and Sunday. Okay. Just do boxing. Jay Hardcore and the Rise podcast comes on Sunday. I don't work weekends. Yeah, I used to, but Sunday was always so slow, So yeah, I spend the weekends getting ready for Monday through Friday, And yeah, today was a Remo idea. And like I told him yesterday, since I got to follow hashtag Let's Talk Fashion on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday behind Let's Talk Fashion gonna be a Remo idea. He gave me plenty of them. Every Wednesday. Yeah. But I got to check out. I was very busy this morning. I haven't seen hashtag Let's Talk Fashion yet. Ain't that something? But I'm going to see it in a few. I sure am. But I hope everybody have a good day. Aunt McQueen in the building. Salute, Aunt McQueen. What's up? I didn't even know you was in here. I saw Melanie McQueen greeting you. You missed the New York show, Aunt. Yeah, I did a little history of the sport in New York. Talked about some of the great fights that happened there, and all fighters that were born in New York, former fighters, a whole bunch of them. You know, and on. You know, like of course Mike Tyson, Gene Tunney, Benny Leonard, the great Carmen Basilio, Riddick Bowe, Daniel Jacobs, Zabdiel Judah. My phone died. Charger right there. Yep, Zabdiel Judah. Yeah. All them guys came out of New York, where Aunt Remo is from. And tomorrow is going to be on the Kronk Gym, the legendary Kronk Gym, and legendary trainer Emmanuel Stewart, and some of the great fighters that came out of there. And like I said, they also have a Kronk Gym in Phoenix, Arizona. But time has been you having fun. I have not been on here no 2 hours. It was like about 30 minutes. But I enjoyed it. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Oh, you was listening, and okay. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. Well, salute to everybody. I appreciate it. Everybody hit that appreciation button. The like button is the appreciation button in the JBT, and I would appreciate it if everybody hit it. But Just Do Boxing is coming up next, and I can't stress it enough that it's early in the JBT day, man. We got a whole lineup still coming. 3 more great acts. Okay. Who knows? Might get a Casual's Corner in there somewhere. You never know. Subscribe and turn your notifications on. The Casual's Corner, BN Boxing News. Fire channels, part of the JBT network. Just a group of people who love to talk boxing. That's all it is. Just boxing talk. And that's what The Voice is getting ready to do. Jay Hardcore is going to do it at 8. And the Rise Podcast. You know, you go on the Rise Podcast, you might see both of the Face of Boxing's trainers, coaches in there, Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis. And Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis was on Cast Sports a couple of Saturdays ago. Yeah, right here. On Cast Sports. Yes, they was. Yep. But anyway, appreciate everybody. We had Aunt McQueen, Melanin Queen 27, the Mighty Rise Podcast, hashtag JBT, Mike Masick, BN Boxing News, Lonnie Lee, hashtag JBT, Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz, and more. Mike Rim, Let's Talk Fashion, Remo, hashtag JBT, Jay Hardcore from Hardcore Boxing News, hashtag JBT. That's the creator of the JBT. And Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. The executive vice president of Cass Sports and the brain behind the operation. I'm just the brawn. He's the brain. Couldn't do it without her. So salute Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. Told you, I got a hardcore boxing wife. I wake up some mornings, she in there watching old fights. And guess what? She can cook too. But everybody have a great day. Okay? Still got 3 great acts coming up. Just Do Boxing at 4, The Voice. Jay Hardcore back in the Hangout at 8. And the Mighty Rise Podcast at 9. And Cass Sports will be back tomorrow at 2. Because if it's Monday through Friday, 2 o'clock, it's the Box Storian. That's me. Your friendly neighborhood box historian. Everybody have a great day. But I'll see y'all somewhere else along the way on one of these great JBT channels. This is Cat Sports. Everybody have a good one.